Sally and David Evans, welcome to the Lyle podcast. It's such an honor to sit down with you in this context. These are my some of my favoriteest moments in life because we get to have these conversations about life, and that is just such a passion for me. And um, I met you. Let's see. I think we've known each other about 5 months or maybe 6. I don't know. That's somewhere around there, half a year. We don't have to nitpick and get into it. But I met you at a Christmas brunch, so I guess people listening can figure out how long that is, depending on when I actually post this out. But it's been really wonderful to have you in my life. And it turns out your neighbors, you're just, I don't even know if it's a mile and a half down the road. And you have brought so much joy and healing to my life. And um, if can I talk about your age?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's,
Well,
it's, if you don't, it's obvious.
Yeah, if
It's,
they're
it's
watching, but if
visible.
they're just listening, they're not going to see.
Yeah.
But and and I have to think too. And now I'm feeling the pressure. So David, I believe you're 91,
91, yeah.
91, and Sally 88.
correct.
Yes.
Okay, and even if I was off, I guess I would deal with that. But um, it's such a special treat to have, and me in my mid 40s at age 45, to have. Um, well, it's just even special that you're living this long, right? There's some element of the
Yeah.
intersection of miracle of life, right? And as well as just what you've done in your life to sustain yourself. And things that I particularly enjoy about the two of you and are very meaningful to me are you are both curious people. You are both, um, which is
Amen.
which is associated with growth. So even, and that seems so rare to me to see people that are elders, that are seniors in U.S. society that are still actively growing. David, you just completed um, a book, or it's it's just really, and you're just both just exceedingly kind, and that has brought a lot of healing to my life. And the waterworks have started. And so thank you. So I'm so glad that you're here today on the Loud Podcast. So let's go ahead and start with the question. So and we'll see however you guys want to take it. This will just be very conversational. How would you describe your work and vocation?
Well, I'll start by first of all, I'm a writer, and that means a lot of different things. I've done all kinds of different writing, and in fact, you and I were talking about mediation.
Yeah.
I several years as a mediator, and I'm still deeply immersed in that whole process of helping, listening to people, and trying to figure out what's going wrong. But that's a writing related project, because when I was mediating, I would be listening to people, and I would think of their problem and their disagreement as like the first draft of a script.
Oh, yeah.
And a writer is a rewriter. So, you
Mhm.
do a script and there's something wrong with the first act. There's something
Yeah.
wrong with one of your central characters. You say, oh, I need to change that. So mediation is a writer's rewrite job.
Mhm,
And I
mhm.
always saw it that way.
Yeah, there are people that use even the verbiage when talking about our internal thought process and our perception of the world. There are people that will describe it as a story, the story that we're telling ourselves. And so you're even describing that, okay, this is maybe the story I'm telling right now. Can I leave space to be that, well, there's other stories that can be told about this same situation. And
Rashomon.
Go ahead. What's that?
Rashomon, the movie. It took an event. This is an old Japanese movie. It's
Hey, I
wonderful.
don't know it. So you'll, and my audience might not know
And
either. So tell
it
us.
showed a series of events, and but then it showed it from several different perspectives, and they were all very different. So our lives are kind of Rashomon like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, that's one of the benefits of um, knowing someone for a long time or living with somebody through similar or the same experiences. You have a different reaction to the same experience, and
Yeah.
can be um, healing in some ways. Oh, you saw it that way. Oh, that can give you an uplift or something you hadn't thought about.
You can widen the perspective sometimes,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
that's wonderful. And so
Hmm.
I saw this. Did you see this?
Yeah.
Well, maybe
Hmm.
they did, maybe they didn't,
Oh,
and
I
maybe
didn't understand it that
there's a
way.
discussion there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you two have had a lot of years together, so
Yes,
a
we
lot of
have.
that back and forth. Yeah.
It's almost 70.
Almost 70 years married, right? That's not even just
Married.
together,
Yeah.
not even together. That's married. Yeah.
Oh.
Wow. Wow. Um, Sally, what about you? How would you describe your work and vocation?
Taking care of David.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Making sure he's living his life. But I grew up in a small town, and I would be with my father walking to his office or walking down Main Street, and he said hello to everybody. He never met a stranger. And I got a lot of uh, great example
Hmm.
from him in that way of being friendly with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew some of the people he didn't, but they were immediately his friends. And because he was a osteopath
Oh.
during a time when osteopathy was early growing years, um, he would also deliver babies out to the farms and to the farm women. But he would spend every weekend really going out to visit the new mothers of the babies he had delivered. And that was a great opportunity for me to see his kindness to other people. And it was a small town where on the border of area of southern Colorado, where there was a Mexican uh, community. And he would go there to deliver babies because the MDs would go to the hospital. My father would go to the homes.
Mm.
And in those homes, when he would take me there on his rounds, I saw wood, not wooden floors necessarily, but caked mud floors in their dining room, or well, it wasn't really a dining room, but where the wood burning stove was, where he would boil the water to help with his examinations. But that was a great way to see how disadvantaged poor people live.
Mm.
And how to treat
Yeah,
everybody.
how to
He
treat
was
everybody.
amazing that
How to
way.
treat it.
He was
Mhm.
amazing that way.
Yeah. That's the way you're supposed to live, is with
Mhm.
kindness to everyone
Mhm.
and treat them with openness and friendliness.
They're all equals.
Yeah.
We're all equals.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
that's the way that he approached life. And
But
that
we
was
all need
great.
help.
And we all
Yeah.
need help. Yes, we all
Yeah.
need help.
Mhm.
Yes,
Mhm.
please. We
Well,
all-
and you have that friendliness too. So that's where you attribute that
yes,
the source of that.
yes, I would say so. He was my role model of
Mhm.
how to live your life.
Hmm.
When I first met Sally, this is before, more than 70 years ago, and
We were in college.
we were in college, and I had a friend of mine that I grew up with had I was also going to school there, and he had met Sally, and I was telling her that telling him that Sally and I were going together, and
Uh-huh.
he said she's very friendly.
Well,
He had
yeah.
he had no idea, and neither did I.
The extent of the friendliness.
That
Yeah.
is Sally's life theme.
Mm.
Didn't know
And
what you were getting into.
no, I didn't. I didn't. None of us ever does.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and what a gift to the world. I think, and I've also benefited, Sally, too, from your mentorship. I think, and that's, I
Oh,
think, another gift that you offer the world, which is an expression, I think, of your curiosity about life. And the things that you've acquired, and just even being able to ask good questions. Right. I think that's even what a lot of mentorship is.
my favorite job, well, teaching eighth grade was not my favorite job. That was the hardest job. That's where I got my gray hair. But, later, my favorite job was working at UCLA in a graduate fellowship office.
Yeah.
And my favorite job was running the Fulbright study abroad program of students applying to go to any country in the world where they had some language ability, where they had a project. And I would set up interviews for them, and that whole process of their application, whether it was dissertation research or just out of their bachelor's degree. So, speaking of mentorship, they brought the world home to me.
Mm.
That I would get postcards from Yugoslavia when Yugoslavia was still one country,
A country, yeah.
or one Japan, or all over the world, and they taught me. So they I influenced them. I helped them.
Help them make it work.
I helped them attain their dream, but they gave me a whole new
And
view
then
of the
she
world.
came home and told me about some of the people and where they were going, and so I participated in that job in a way.
Mhm.
It's great.
Talking, communication has always been a theme
Yes.
that we have enjoyed. And I feel really sorry for people who live alone or who don't have that opportunity to process their life or what's going on in the world, or process their fears and their anxieties, and
All of that. Yeah.
just talking about it is such a great value and benefit.
Amen.
No children, no grandchildren, except We're adopting Elle.
That's right. I'm pleading at your door. Take me in.
Sally,
Take me in. Yeah.
one time somebody at UCLA said, asked her if she had any children. And Sally's response was, yes, hundreds. And we do, actually.
That's right. That's right. I know. And we just had Mother's Day recently. So I hope you did feel celebrated, Sally, for all the ways that you mother people, right? Because it is not just a legal status or a biological status, right? That capacity. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the concern and the love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And as Jamie has on her T-shirt, be kind, be open.
That's right. Yeah. So Jamie. So for listeners, that's my partner, and she knows Sally and David as well. And that's right. We both have shirts that say "Be kind." So that was when you're looking for a good match, right? And then you also spent money on a shirt that says "Be kind." Okay,
yes, and we all should have that motivation.
If we all wore that T-shirt.
I know, right? Right. Yeah.
The world would be a better place.
That's right. Well, I'm going to parlay that into the second question, which is, what do you think it means to live your healthiest life? We all need to wear Be Kind shirts, right?
Yes.
But yeah, what do you think it means to live your healthiest life?
What it means is to be engaged in something. And to be thinking and to be curious. I'm struck by the fact that a lot of people aren't thinking. They don't think about it. Well, who am I? What am I doing? Who is this? What is this incredible scheme of living that I'm a part of? And so they don't think about things that I think are necessary to live your healthiest life. And in order to be thinking and ask the appropriate questions, is you need to be curious. Who am I? And the curiosity is about everything. We saw a wonderful program last night about bees. Bees. And it was just such a revelation. This guy was a filmmaker and was unable during the COVID to go out places. So he stayed home and went into his backyard, where there turned out to be about 65 different kinds of bees. And you think this asking the questions that nobody else asks, and wondering. Somebody said to Einstein once, "You're really smart." And he said, "No," he said, "I'm not really that smart." He said, "But I'm incredibly curious." That's the way and asking questions and listening for the answers. Listening is not necessarily an auditory thing, but it's
passive.
Yes. It's very much on openness to what amazing things are happening.
The first thing that David does every morning is sit with a pad of paper, and that's when you do your best thinking.
I do my best thinking.
That really sets up what he's going to write about later in the day.
Yes. That's my when I'm least active is when I'm doing my best work.
Yeah, there is something special, it seems, about being still or rest, because I think there can be physical stillness, like you're saying, as well as sometimes if you're just doing like a repetitive action, I think that doesn't really, you've already hit play, you're not having to make decisions, you're just doing the same thing over and over, whether that's running or, something like that, or lap swimming, or cutting something up, or like some kind of craft or knitting. Yeah. Or some kind of cleaning, you're just sweeping or mowing the yard, even something like that, if you're present to it, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. If somebody probably younger than you, I'm guessing, but somebody younger than you, but it's not even an age thing, right? Of course, the years give us many opportunities to learn. So those of us that have more years have the benefit of that, or like the potential benefit of it anyway. But for somebody that is really wondering who they are, you said, like, be curious, like, who am I?
Mm.
What sort of suggestions do you have for that? Or we don't have to go, because we can even do that later if you want, if that's something you want to talk about. But what was your process, for finding who you were?
Well,
Either of those.
I think one of the things is to, uh, what a lot of people do is think I want to do X or Y or be X or Y.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So they're looking at somebody that's successful at that,
Mm.
and they copy themselves. But
Mm-hmm.
that all too often people are trying to live somebody else's life
Mm-hmm.
instead
Mm-hmm.
of their own. And so what is important is to really think about who you are. Every one
Mm-hmm.
of us is in some astonishing way totally unique.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
so and that is a wonderful gift. And I believe that's part of who we're created to be. We're created
Mm-hmm.
to be somebody unique, and use the tools of curiosity, inquisition, thinking to
Mm-hmm.
determine
Oh.
who we are,
Mm-hmm.
and what and when we determine, and as we determine, and of course, this is a lifetime thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is it, you don't suddenly have the answer at age 45 or
Mm-hmm.
55
Mm-hmm.
or maybe even 95.
Mm-hmm.
I may, I'm conscious that I'm learning things every day.
Mm-hmm.
I found
Mm.
I came across a question that I was asking
Yes.
a couple of days ago, and I found an answer to it, and I thought, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
will write it. I will write it. I want
Mm-hmm.
to write it up. And
Oh, I
so,
love that. And
yeah,
that's a phrase I hear you say often. You say, "This is amazing." Like, you do have some. It seems like consistent pattern of wonder, of wow, of
Yeah.
this kind of noticing,
it
and
is
then
amazing. It is.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not just, every day. Every day is not every day.
yeah, yeah.
It's
It's unique, right? Even that day. Yeah,
it's unique.
yeah, yeah. Oh, wow. Um, am I on the right track to interpret what you're saying as that people can trust what they're interested in and should trust it? Is that like the who I am?
Mm.
Say that again.
So when you say, because you're talking about the uniqueness and not copying other people, I'm I'm trying to get a little bit even into the process of it, and so I'm wondering if one way that I was packaging what you said is that maybe that individual could trust that what they are interested in and what they
Bingo.
Yeah, that they, yeah.
Bingo, trust.
Okay.
But part of that is you get confirmation from other people.
Yeah.
That confirmation comes in somebody saying, "Oh, bingo! Oh, that or that really helped me," or
Responding to it.
responding.
Yeah.
That confirmation that,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I guess that um, helps someone else, and therefore,
As we responded to your curiosity, your comment about curiosity. Yes, I'm
yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
I
that's
interrupted
okay.
you.
So if can I clarify with you, Sally, about so others will confirm. There's part of me that has a question about that because many people grew up in environments that aren't supportive, that don't see people that aren't affirming, and it seems to me in my 45 years that there might need to be a distancing from there might just have to be you just might have to distance yourself from other people for a time and really just trust what's
Yes.
inside you
Yes.
and then you
Yes.
start
Yes.
practicing it because you trust
Yes.
and then the confirmation comes,
Yes.
but like the confirmation doesn't
If
come
you
until you
depend on the
trust. Is that, I don't
confirmation,
know.
if you depend on the confirmation, uh, that might not, it might come, but it might not. And you can't say if I haven't gotten a confirmation as to who I am, then I don't exist. But it needs your fundamental confirmation comes from your recognition of who you are and what your own value is.
On the other hand,
Yes, yeah, this is what I want. Yeah, because
on
this
the
is it.
other
On
hand,
the other,
when we first met Elle,
Yes.
um, and she was talking about her life, and I made a comment about it of what she said, and there was a fellow also in this group who said, "Oh, I see what you did." And it was really hearing her,
hearing.
Hmm.
really acknowledging.
Yeah.
I think I may have said something about, oh, you have really had an amazing journey
Hmm.
through your life. You
Hmm.
may remember that more clearly than I.
Hmm.
But this other fellow in the circle
Recognized it.
said, "Oh, I see what you did."
Hmm.
And that was acknowledging or hearing her story.
Hearing, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Does that ring true for you?
A fundamental problem with, and I saw this again and again as a mediator, a fundamental problem people have is that they don't feel they've been heard.
Exactly.
They
Hmm.
don't
Yeah.
feel they,
Right.
I mean, it's not
Hmm.
Or seen.
it's not
Hmm.
just words, but it's their own personal validity and reality
Or worth.
hasn't
Hmm.
been heard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think, I don't even, whatever the imagery, I don't even know. On the other hand, I don't think it's like, I think we're just talking about the same thing, but there's complexity to it. Like I
Huh?
think we can get down to very simple truths, and I think David and I probably have this in common of you try to take truths and how much can we condense it? Like, can we find the truest true that there
Yes,
is?
have to
And
the truth inside it.
yeah, and it's very potent, but the truest true takes a lot of wisdom, and you can say something that's very true and it can be misinterpreted by people.
Oh, yes, you can.
So, and taken out of context, like it has to be, and this is how wisdom can miss people, right? That it can be, and I'm thinking of even there's would be so many traditions that would talk about this or point to this, but we could say, with all of us here on this in this chat having a Christian background, Jesus said, you have eyes to see but don't see, you have ears to hear, and to me that is related to what we're talking about, is that we can have these truths and totally miss it, and that can be the truths about ourselves. That can be whether other people see us and hear us. And so I think we're talking about the same thing. And how I'm receiving what you said, Sally, is absolutely because I view you as a mentor. And I already stated from the top that you ask good questions. And so when we met, you're observing and you're like, oh, who is this lady? And, we sit and have our meal, and, and you ask questions that, it's not like, well, how do you feel about the weather or things like that. although we do have, a practice of going on walks, and we do very much get presence in the sensory experience, and we look at the tree bark and we touch it and we say hello to the tree and we feel the sun, but it's not we're not using something like that, like our environment or the weather, as a means to stay superficial. So you have this capacity, you have this wisdom within you that you can confirm and call that out of people. So I don't think what you're saying at all is at odds with what you're saying. I think it's pointing towards, but if somebody doesn't have that, because you're a rare gem.
Did you say weird or rare?
To all our listeners, there's Sally.
A friend of mine once said to me years ago, he said, "You're weird, Dave, but it's good weird."
Yeah. So
I like that. So I'm good weird.
So we're on the record. There's a recording. You can go back and listen to it, Sally, and confirm that I said you're a rare gem.
Okay.
She has a rare gem. She's weird, but she's.
We are all weird.
Rare
yeah.
gem.
Yeah, and we all, because what is weird other than an attempt to say something's different, in that, which is the same to say we're unique and we're special and we have our own things to offer.
And
a rare gem is weird because they're not
they're not many.
They don't follow the everyday pattern.
Exactly, and they're quite valuable. So
yes,
so that I think we're adding just depth and richness to that, which I think is valuable for somebody struggling, because they need to trust themselves. But if they can, and they trust themselves, and they need to trust people who embody wisdom, like who embody the values that they have. So so you two are people that I instantly was drawn to and said, hey, will you mentor me? Because there was a value in that, and things that I was searching for. I'm looking for people that are growing, and it seems so rare to me, I'll say that word again, that there are people, and this is, a call back even to what you said, David, about there's people not thinking, that there are a lot of people just going through life numbing and sleepwalking. So we can't use everybody's opinion, because a lot of people are not examining their life. They're just kind of moving through it. They're not seeing the amazement in a day. They're just in a rut. They're getting by. They're existing. But when I met you, even these many, double my life length right now, you're still growing. You were so curious about everybody in the room. It wasn't just me. You were very interactive. So this curiosity, this presence, and those are the kind of people I think you can trust to confirm.
Yes. We have to learn who to listen to and who not to. Yes, Sally.
I think this relates. In the last couple of days, there have been workmen here repairing a hole in the roof of our bathroom. And so there have been workmen
It's
kind
been
of.
great.
With the ones that they created, by the way.
Yes,
Exactly.
They made
yeah.
the hole and then they
Yeah.
repaired it,
Yeah.
which we heard a little bit of that earlier, I think. So to the people listening, that's the noise. Yeah.
Well, so there are these guys coming in and out of our uh, apartment. And one of my superpowers,
Yes.
as we've mentioned, is friendliness, but also a couple of things, knowing the other person's name, but also knowing a few phrases in their language.
Mm.
Being able to uh, compliment Jonathan by saying gracias, señor.
Mm-hmm.
My simple phrases brought a smile to his face, and he realized that he was seen.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
muy bonito.
Mm-hmm.
Gracias, señor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
Yes.
two simple phrases that acknowledge that he knows. Well, he knows Spanish so much better than I do, and vice versa. And yet we could appreciate each other.
You honored his ethnicity.
And I could be friendly with him, and I could see and tell him that he was doing a good job.
Mm-hmm.
An affirmation
Yeah.
that oh, you're valuable. Look what you did to the ceiling. Isn't this wonderful?
Mm-hmm.
Muy bonito.
Yeah. No, he did an amazing job.
And
actually.
I could
Right.
also
I'm so
kid him
happy.
a little bit,
Yeah.
you know, and so
Yeah.
he laughed, and
Yeah.
he was on a big ladder up to the ceiling, and I asked him if he needed agua or how about a cerveza, and he said, "Oh no, yeah, you would fall off the ladder." So
Yeah.
humor, I
Yeah.
think, is also
Humor is huge.
that is a power.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of my power abilities.
One of it's yours. One of your superpowers.
It is a superpower because just interacting with somebody, if I can also say a joke about the weather. I'm coming back from the post office and meet this guy, and he's complaining about I say something about, oh, are we in Minnesota? And he says, no, ma'am, we're in California. No, it's cold here. It feels like Minnesota. So then he can laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that
Laughter is huge.
Yeah,
Laughter
but
is huge.
You have a problem. If you can make a joke about it, it's like, oh, powerful. It changes the
Powerful.
It's a powerful dynamic. Powerful is humor.
Well, and that's something that you're naming as a superpower for you, and that's something that you described to me as being attracted to David for. He makes me laugh.
Yes.
And David, you've even made a living doing comedic writing, humor.
I've done a lot of comedy. My first job was writing funny greeting cards.
He writes them, I send them.
And at this point, I've written thousands of them.
Yeah.
Many times we'll be going someplace, and as we're about to leave, Sally will say, I need a birthday card. And I'm thinking, why didn't you tell me 3 hours ago? So,
She was thinking about something else, I bet.
so
Right.
I'm her, I'm her amanuensis.
What's that reference? Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful word.
Are you going to translate?
Actually a secretary
Oh, and
A
the
secretary,
who
amanuensis.
writes things down.
oh,
Okay, I'll have you write that in an email over to me. I'll put it in the show notes so we can all learn what that word is together.
he
She's
loves
your
words and
secretary.
writes down new words every day.
Yeah, that growing learning. Yeah. Um, I'm curious before we move on to the next question, which we'll do soon, but I'm curious just to linger a little bit about it. This question is in my mind with the last two things that we talked about, which are related. So the humor, and then I'm trying to bring on the top of my I can't it's not coming to the top of my brain, but what we were talking about just before that, um, what is the it was human connection, it was the friendliness. So and you're linking these together. What is that it seems like there's a vitality in that related to living a healthy life. What is that? What's happening when you're friendly? What's happening when you're playful or use humor? What does it change us? Like what's happening?
Yes, joy. It gives me a lift. It gives the other person a lift.
Mm.
Sharing that. Uh, 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 the only problem with masks is I can't smile too well, but the laughter kind of transcends that.
Yeah.
But to get a reaction from somebody like that, uh, they're kind of glum and suddenly they're not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's maybe endorphins or something where
Well, yeah.
energy of
Uh-huh.
you have exchanged energy with somebody. Here's a stranger. You're just, walking out of the doctor's office and, oh, yeah, Tylenol is my best friend or something, she says to me. And so we can have a mini relationship. And
Mm.
it's just that a lift of energy. I will never see that woman again. And yet I think about her all the time of,
Mm.
oh,
Yeah.
what she said in relationship to what I said. And
Yeah.
she's still in my mind and in my heart as someone who was
Yeah.
important, or
Yeah.
You had a connection.
we had
Yeah. Yeah. It
and
is. Yeah,
so
the connection. Yeah. The connection, that being seen. Yeah. Yeah.
Humor is being open to new connections
and surprise.
and surprise.
That surprise that humor gives you, and that when you can lift somebody out of their doldrums.
or just see a new connection.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
It's almost like I'm just processing in real time. So sorry, I'm a verbal processor, so I don't know what's going to come out. But it seems it's it seems to me in what you're saying. Oh, and sometimes if I explain it, I lose my um, train of thought. But as you talked there about friendliness, oh shoot, I don't know if the thought's going to come back now. Can you repeat what you just said about friendliness? You might not remember.
I don't know.
Several
I
things.
don't know. I can never remember conversations I've had
Yeah.
because for me, it's having a conversation is spontaneous and
Yeah.
of the moment.
Yes.
It's not like
Yeah.
from a meeting with so and so or and here's what I'm going to say. I have no idea what
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm saying, and then uh,
On the other hand, it's the feeling. The feeling I got was, oh, a real uplift. of,
Mhm.
oh, I feel better. And that person who is frowning, she feels better.
Yeah.
We both had a change in our emotions.
Mhm.
And you can combine the two because you see a connection and then you help that person feel better and comment on it. So it's all of those things together.
Mhm. Mhm. It seems like it's a gift as well. Like it would be another way
Yeah.
to like frame it, and even to go through life being friendly is um that it's a gift, and there's a certain um I don't know. I'm sure people have different orientations to their own friendliness of where it derives from. You talked about it being modeled by your in your as a child, and we just are kind of natural emulators of the environment that we grow up in. But sometimes I think for some people it might need to be a discovery. I think even for me, I think I'm a little bit on a journey of discovering friendliness, having not really been presented with
Uh,
a skill set that was, and here's kindness for you, and here's kindness for you, and not, and so learning as an adult, like, and so I'm merging kind of you. I love my relationship with you because I just love these conversations that we have, and
I do too.
I relate to, uh, David so much in like the thinking, writing, and then, um, and you both have the curiosity. And Sally, I think there's like the just as a woman and as like your presence in the world just really means a lot to me and how you show up. But I have a series that I haven't done anything with, but it's a process of I have an interaction with a stranger. So the series is called Oh, the People You'll Meet.
oh, yes.
And it's really just cataloging like these kind of experiences that you're describing that I have on the plane, just because of being a certain way that, oh, I can make a connection
Right.
with the flight attendant, and then such that she comes and sits with us. It was like
Yes,
this sort
yes.
of thing, or sitting at the park and meditating. But it's a difference of I have to be present enough in myself to be willing to give the gift of
That's
It's
myself.
my
an
word.
openness. It's an
Openness.
open.
Openness.
I
Be open
remember
to
I was once on a plane
it. Yeah.
and I was sitting on the aisle, and across from the aisle was another guy who had about 6 books, and
How long was this
and he
flight? Oh
was
my goodness.
asleep, and he was asleep,
Okay.
and and
It's a good trick.
so I saw his book. I saw the title of one of them, which was, "Is there a role for poetry? Is there a role for poetry?"
What a
And
very non-poetic title, by the way.
yeah, and
Right.
so he was eventually he woke up, and I saw that he was awake, and I just turned to him and I said, "Well, tell me, is there a role for poetry?" You know,
Right.
and we started talking,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Became friends.
we became
yeah.
he lived in Philadelphia, and every time he'd come out here, I don't go to Philadelphia anymore, but every time he would come out here, he had a son-in-law, and so we would get, and I haven't seen Stan for a
Well,
while,
you
so I
better
needed, but
activate that.
for several years
Okay,
we
reach
would
out
get
to
together
Stan.
and talk about all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
It was that thing of it's that thing of being
Yeah.
open, and I thought there's a connection there.
And you
Mhm.
never know who you're going to meet.
And
Yeah.
you never know who you're going to be.
And
Right.
that's so amazing. And I just want to share the feeling that I feel right now. I feel such gratitude for you taking the time to have this conversation because I feel like it's so rich and can benefit so many people. And I just hope that it does reach a lot of people because of these things that these qualities and values that you're we're discussing and you're embodying, there is this, you can sense it in your life force, right? In your energy, and it's very animating. You ready for question 3? So we're going to take it current. We're going to take it current. Okay. So what are you currently learning about living your healthiest life? You're both hovering around 90 years. So
Yes.
What are you learning about in your?
Some of us are hovering more than others.
Well,
okay.
I think I've just finished writing a book about my faith journey, and my father's a Presbyterian minister, so it started early, and in fact, my earliest life memory is hearing my father practice preaching his on Saturday night his Sunday sermons when I was lying in my crib in the next room, and
can't get away from that.
And so I've been, the theme of God and Christianity has been huge in my life, all through my life, through all kinds of struggles but I am very much a Christian. So for me, the way to
you had to rebel first.
What?
You had to rebel.
Oh, first. I did. Yes, I did. Yeah, every preacher's kid does. So
classic, yeah.
So
PK, yeah.
That's been a huge part of my how to live my healthiest life, how to live in a good relationship with God, so that my life is open to His bounty, and so that I can then share that in my relationships with other people. So that's a big part of it.
So in the process of writing your book, what kind of changes were happening in you?
Well, it was constantly changing, and in fact, I've finished the book, but I've had other chapters that have suggested themselves since I finished it. Just a couple of months ago, and so I thought what I've decided is I'm going to get a Substack.
Yay! All right.
And I'm going to incorporate some of the new questions that have occurred to me. I'm going to call it, does Christianity have a future? And so some of these thoughts that I've just been having, I can incorporate into that. Into that.
We're looking forward to your answers.
It's a complicated answer that will go over a number of
decades.
as long as I have left, and as long as I'm still curious.
Great. Well, when you have your Substack, when you have the website for that, or including your books and things, we can put it in the notes so people can find that and follow along if they're so inclined.
The title of my book is an interesting one. It's The Missing Scene from the 23rd Psalm.
Missing scene from the 23rd Psalm.
Yes. There's a missing scene from it. And
you have to read the book.
I have
read
the 23rd Psalm 2,000 times. And very recently, I thought, when you look at it a certain way, there's a missing scene. So I wrote the book around it.
Okay. So that's just a teaser. You're not going to tell us anything about it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Okay. All right. The power of a title to lure people in. So you heard it, folks, here.
You and I talked about writing.
Yeah.
But one of my strong beliefs is that one of the most important parts of a book is the title.
Yeah.
That's how you.
Yeah. So I would say, this is just my processing, and you can push back it up. But I would say, for those listening, you can hear how thoughtful David is. And I think to get a lot of, because he's kind of withholding a little bit of what the learnings are, because they're in the book. So, and that's not and I think that's just genuine, because I think as he's describing it, he's very much in process still of and for anybody that, and I think we all have we have creativity and artistry in all of us, but for those of us that maybe claim the label of artist or feels part of our truth and our calling, and whether you're a writer or singer, or you would know, or painter, that you can reveal things in your art that you can't say outside of it.
Yes, yes.
And so, and I think that's kind of a little bit what's happening, because I'm wanting to hear a little bit, but I think it's kind of like in the book, and it's not a intentional withholding. It's just like, well, it's in there, it's in process.
It's that I can't explain it.
Correct.
To the degree that it needs to be
correct
in just a quick conversation.
Yeah.
It needs it's like you'd say, well, Einstein discovered the theory of relativity, and you'd say, well, what's the theory of relativity? And you think,
yeah, right, exactly, yeah, yes, exactly.
You can't explain it in a quick conversation.
Yeah. Also, yeah, go ahead, Sally.
Something that occurs to me is that when David was in the midst of writing television shows, we would go to parties. And he would say to me, now don't tell anybody what I'm doing, what I'm writing. Because that leaks out the energy.
Yeah, yes.
And the energy. So I said, okay, I won't tell anybody, because as being his editor, I would know everything he was writing about. So
she's a very good editor.
I've learned from the many years. But so I said, okay, I will tell everybody I am a ceramicist. I'm a pot maker. What I do or what I know.
Right, to just have something that,
I'm a poet. I know.
Yeah. Well, and that's true, which I can't wait to hear some of your poems.
I do believe that a project
energy leak
has a certain internal energy.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's an energy that is a drive to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
And that people, things that are written are drawn, need to be communicated. And it's an outward manifestation of an internal drive.
And that's in addition then to being seen. To be seen and acknowledged, but to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
Who is this person?
It's a communication industry. Yeah. And when I was writing television, people would say, "What are you working on?" And I never wanted to ever say, because I didn't want the energy to leak out.
Yeah.
And so I made up a phony book that I wasn't really writing. And the book was called Hamburgers on Atlantis.
Yeah, and I feel like you could just go anywhere with that. Right. It's going to be different each time.
People say, "Well, what are you working on?" I said, "I'm working on a novel, Hamburgers on Atlantis."
That stopped the conversation.
That's the end.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of people are probably like, "Okay, well, how's the weather?" Yeah,
sounds good.
I look forward to reading that.
Are there pickles and onions on it?
Yeah, is it right? Yeah, insert some joke. Yeah. What you're highlighting is, I feel like, something that I'm learning in real time about like this process of, because there's all different kind of stages with art of. Sometimes you have to, and it seems like you're describing the more precious phase, right?
Forever.
Say that again.
It's continued. The processes, the change, the development of new processes is
Okay.
and evolving
It's
for.
I'm never gonna land and get it down, huh?
Right.
Yeah, because it is, and yeah, I think different phases of life probably require different, because we have different energies that phase, and different responsibilities, and different projects would demand different care
Yeah.
or phases of it. If you're writing your first draft of a book, it's very different than the editing and uh,
Amen.
it,
Amen.
Or
um,
that doesn't compute. That sentence is confusing.
yeah.
This is not going in the direction you
Mhm.
want it to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't bring that kind of critique too early in the process, but you can't really have a great product if you hold everything too precious the whole time. You have to
Yeah,
get
no, it
to,
Yeah,
has to
yeah,
be your job is to communicate and communicate so that
clearly.
the communication is communicated.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm going to be processing about that energy leak, because I think I learned that, because I'm just a very forthright person, and I'm learning that I need to, and I think that's my wiring. I think it's my autistic tendencies that I just am kind of, I just say things as they are, and I also just, I'm like, isn't this what we do? Aren't we supposed to all do that? And then not realizing that, no, that's not how people do things, and people will, so thank you for that. Is there anything, Sally, that you particularly want to say about what you're currently living, about living your healthiest life?
Yes. Mind body connection.
Mm.
In the last few days, we've been through a lot of stress. I have particularly been through a lot of stress driving us places and having workmen here and getting on the freeway, which we try not to do much of. We're very much at home. So, in the last day or so, my right leg has been very swollen. My left leg is swollen also. And so, trying to figure out, oh, what brought this about?
Mm-hmm.
What was it that, and you know, my right leg, my right calf muscle is much bigger than the left. And even the right,
But the left was as big the night before. It's gone down.
yes, this is true. So, fortunately, to be able to recapitulate and have someone to talk to about that is the relationship between bodily stress, mental
stress,
mental stress on the effect of the body. And I think a lot of people go through that and don't understand that, oh, I have been so cuckoo about X, driving on the freeway in the middle of rush hour, da da da, and trying to push my right leg either on the brake or the gas. And of course,
Mm.
my leg is complaining.
yeah, yeah.
And
Our bodies complain when our minds are upset.
this is right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And not only did we do that, but then we stopped at the restaurant, and the car wouldn't start.
Oh,
And it was
no.
like, wait a minute, we've just been in a place where we were in a huge parking structure. If that had happened there,
If that had happened there, we'd be dead.
because we couldn't,
Yeah.
Be
get
dead.
parking structure.
Yeah.
Anyway, finally got the AAA.
Okay.
Finally got home. So then my right leg just ballooned to like, it's like Okay.
Of course.
Oh,
And the answer is, of course it did. Because your body is listening to your mind.
well, and the workmen have been here telling us to get all of our stuff out of the garage so that they can do smoke abatement. And so I've been hauling these big heavy boxes or kicking them with my right foot, my right leg.
Yeah.
So of course my leg says, "You better chill it, girl."
Yeah. Yeah.
Stop this. So yes, the mind
That's a big
and the
one.
body are complaining to each other.
Yeah, they definitely
And we don't
yeah.
listen to
Yeah.
our body. And
Yeah.
when I would walk across campus at UCLA, people would be so into their mind or on their phone that they didn't see where they were walking. They wouldn't see the trees or the other people. Disconnect from the body, the mind, and also from the soul. So
From the soul.
it's we are one related piece if we want peace.
Yeah.
If we want peace in our life, we have to be integrated, body and soul, body and mind.
Preach. Well, yeah.
Yes.
Amen. Amen. You're like, when talking to me, you're preaching to the choir, but, and that's, I mean, because that's been such a, and I'm in the process of this evolution with my work because I want it to be less just one thing or just the one, because if my whole thing is like, let's live really healthy, then it's like, well, we need to bring it all together.
Life is a unity.
Yeah. Life is a unity.
A spiritual and physical unity.
I like that. As we wrap up today, what do you think is something that you wish more people knew about living their healthiest life? We've already talked about things, but is there anything that you're just like, yeah, I wish people knew? Because you have, again, you have a lot of wisdom, you have a lot of years. What do you notice?
I think one of the things that is underappreciated now is the importance of our relationship with God. And I think that people don't recognize how important that is. And it is really the crucial thing that's driving everything. That's creating our identity. That's creating the life that we could, that abundant life that we could lead. So to me, that's the most important thing that I come away with.
Thank you.
I would also say that each one of us has been given gifts, abilities, the gifts of our gifts of the Spirit, the things that we are really good at, and that living your best life would be using those gifts, whether it's a laughter or whether it's kindness or friendliness, to help other people. So we're not just here in a bubble. We are here to share these gifts we've been given.
Amen.
And give that energy so that other people might have a better life, that they might receive that energy or that gift that we have been given to lift them out of whatever they might be going through. So that is my goal is not to be buried in my own inner problems or worries. Worry is such a trap, and to
Yes,
get
it
out
is.
of anything of self-involvement,
Mhm.
realize that other people really need to have the gift, have a taste of the gift I have been given, to share with
Mm.
them that encouragement, that have no fear, have no anxiety.
Yeah. It
You are
will,
here as a unique person, and
and
you
you'll,
have been given gifts.
and
Everyone given a gift that is precious and must be shared to lift someone else up from their despair. That is our goal.
yes.
That is what I am here for. That is what I am here to share with Elle.
Wow. Um, Thank you to you both for.
We have wandered all over the map, but
Yes, we have. We
we've had,
apologize.
it's been fun. Thank you for inviting us.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
I've
Thank
been the ringleader of the wandering. So,
and you've
and
had to pull us back several times.
well, no, and that's my complete joy because I my brain makes all the connections, and so I love this because I'm allowed to do this, and
Yes,
we
yeah.
can come back and say how it all matters and how it all belongs. And
Yeah.
thank you to each of you for being you. Thank you to each of you for using your voice and your skill and your gift set, and using your time and energy for. You both are smiling right now as you're looking at
I
me.
had fun. I had
We
fun.
did have fun. We had fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Um, to all the listeners, may you always see the blessing. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Lyle Podcast. I'm so glad you're here. If you liked what you heard, you can find me at the Lyle newsletter, which is available online or delivered to your inbox. I'm also on Instagram at the Lyle Community and on YouTube at the Elle. You can also find me on my website, www.theelbetrell.com. Of course, you can find me back here, the next episode of the Lyle Podcast. There's numerous ways to support my work so I can keep helping you live your healthiest life. You can do this financially via links on my website and in the show notes for the podcast. You can subscribe to the YouTube channels, join the newsletter community, aptly named the Lyle Newsletter. You can rate the podcast and by sharing with those you meet, in addition to participating in coaching lessons. It's my passion to help you live your healthiest life. I'm so glad you're here. I'd love to hear your thoughts about what you're learning and insights you're gaining from these conversations. May you always see the blessing.